Hey guys, Ben here and welcome back to another video on Superman and Lois. Today we got some new news coming from the head of the CW, Brad Schwartz. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future DCTV videos later this year. There's two key parts to what Brad Schwartz has been saying. We're going to have one video out today, we're going to have one video out tomorrow. I'm going to split into two because they are two separate topics, because I think they both warrant videos for themselves. The link will be in the description below to Krypton's site where I'm reading all of this from. The original source is actually The Hollywood Reporter. They had CW Entertainment President Brad Schwartz on this week on their TV Top 5 podcast, and so yeah, he was a guest. He discussed topics obviously to do with the CW and specifically quite a lot to do with Superman and Lois, and so I'm just reading off Krypton's site because they've thankfully transcribed some of the interesting comments that he gave about Superman and Lois and the future. But as you all know right now, the CW is in hot water, right? They're trying to rebrand it and kind of change the network. That being Nexstar, of course, who took over just last year. And with that, they're trying to make profit. That is the thing that they keep on saying, and they will keep saying in every interview that they talk about the CW in the direction that they want to go. It's all about profitability for them. It doesn't matter about their creative decisions. So you can just see it with, like I said recently in a recent video, the CW is going downhill, and it's just going to keep going downhill if they continue down this path. Like, they had a few new shows that they bought briefly, and they had them for like 2 episodes on there, like in primetime spots where Superman and Lois, where the Flash would normally be, and they were underperforming by a hell of a lot by the 2nd episode, and they straight up cancelled showing those shows on the network. And as I said in a previous video, you know, these shows were available elsewhere, so it's not a CW exclusive, so it's not original content that they're making, so no one had a need to go to the CW specifically for that show. It was just people that were presumably scrolling and they saw, oh, the CW is showing this, I'm going to watch it, and then by the time the 2nd, the 3rd episode airs, well, no one's interested anymore because they can just watch it on Netflix. So yeah, with their acquisition style, I don't think the acquisitions are going to work. They're going to work as filler content basically for the network when they don't have anything that is new or of great interest to people. I think that's just going to fill up the runtime, the airtime that they have. But already you can see the big cracks starting to form in the CW. But let's talk about what they actually talked about in the podcast. So the first topic, and the only topic we'll be discussing in this video before we move into tomorrow's video about the rest of the cast and who's returning, we're going to be talking about season 5 and could it still be a possibility. So this is an interesting nugget that Krypton's site was able to pull out from the podcast. So Schwartz says this: we've gotten those shows to a place where why couldn't they continue if they're profitable, he asked. Those will be conversations we have with the producers to see the appetite to keep going, but if they're profitable and successful, some of our highest rated shows, why wouldn't they continue? So that was his answer, and again, twice in those sentences the word profitable was there, because as they've been absolutely hammering it in with their PR, that is what they are all about. So if Superman, Lois, if All American and the shows that are remaining on the network do end up being more profitable, so basically Nexstar looking at their bank account and being like, okay, this is okay, like we're not losing money, and so even if they break even, I think that would be okay because there's a chance for them to get better. But he's saying if they're profitable and successful whilst they're already some of our highest rated shows, why wouldn't they continue? That makes sense. So it's clear that they actually somewhat care about the shows, and the reason they've kept it is because they've been able to keep the costs down, which obviously is very good that the shows are able to continue. Obviously it's going to come with, you know, some drawbacks. I think he's previously said like the shows are going to still be as good and as interesting as they were before, despite basically having less cast members and having to cut back in different ways. Superman and Lois should be just as big as it's always been, However, it's going to be a bit more confined because of those budget restrictions. And so he is now saying that they've got those shows to a place where they could continue if they're profitable. So why wouldn't they continue? And I think that is a good sign that they're open to this, and that season 4 won't be the last Superman and Lois season. And that's why we haven't heard, with the announcement of season 4 being confirmed, it's not the last season, because they're going to have those conversations with the producers. Obviously, Todd Helbing, if he wants the show to continue to go season 5, season 6, and the show does well, performs well in the CW, and they're able to keep those costs down, it will really just be up to Todd Helbing to see if he wants to continue, if he's got the stories. I think he's going to have the stories, and I don't think he wants to end it with next season. So I would say from a creative perspective, like, I think everything is going to be kind of similar. Like I said, just a little bit more strained because of those budget restrictions. And I think Todd Helbing is going to try and make it as good as possible. And I believe that he will want to keep it going. And so we really just have to show up and actually support the show if we want to keep it going. Obviously, there's a lot of factors into the ways that Superman, Lois, and any TV show for that matter can be successful. It's got definitely a multitude of reasons, and I'm not going to go into everything here, but we'll have to wait and see. I think this is a good sign that they're talking about season 5 when being asked. It's not, no, that's not their answer straight away. It's like, okay, we'll have those conversations with the producers to see what it's like when we get to that point. I don't know at what point they will be like, okay, we've seen enough in terms of the ratings, in terms of numbers, in terms of maybe some profit coming in. And at that point, they're like, okay, right, let's make a decision about season 5. So first up, we're going to be like, okay, let's look at these numbers. And this is what this season is saying so far. Say they get halfway through the season, like 5 episodes in, and they have a meeting, and they're like, okay, right, this is pretty good. However, it's not like entirely profitable, but if it's kind of close enough to making even, I guess they would be like, okay, let's go ahead and talk to the producers. But if it's less than that, threshold that they've set, obviously they haven't come out and said exactly what that threshold is, they just keep on saying profitable, then they're definitely going to be ruthless. Like, they are going to cancel the show if it doesn't perform well and if it doesn't make them money. I have trust in Superman and Lois. I feel like enough of us are going to watch, and there's going to be a lot of interest, especially under circumstances that Nexstar have created, since there is literally no other DCTV show left on the CW apart from Superman and Lois. I think Superman and Lois will be safe, but I think some of those other shows like the All-American spin-off and All-American, they could be in big trouble. Like, I know that their costs are lower than Superman and Lois, and that is easier to sustain than Superman and Lois, so I believe those could continue forward, but I don't think their ratings are going to be just as good as Superman and Lois. But like I said, with the costs, I guess it's kind of more beneficial for them to keep a lower cost show than Superman and Lois, but they could be in somewhat like a little bit of trouble. I don't know if the CW, and I think this is a big thing, are they ever going to create a new show, like a new fictional primetime show? I would be really interested to see if they actually start doing any of that. Obviously, there's been lots of talk of them producing game shows, them producing reality shows, them acquiring a load of content. That's pretty much all they've talked about, because that's just the cheapest way that they can think to have entertainment on their network, whilst trying to avoid having to actually produce these big budget shows and just kind of holding on to those last few things that they've got. And so I believe some point later down the line they're going to have like no shows left, and you know, it's just going to go down the drain unless they actually realize, okay, like we really need some of these interesting genre shows that are going to get fans in. Because if you don't have fans of a show, or if you don't have fans that come to your network for specific things, like what else is the point? Like, the CW is just going to become a network where people are scrolling through their TV, they spot, you know, like a funny game show that they like maybe to watch once every 2 months, and they're going to be like, okay, yeah, let's put it on, and that's going to be their ratings, that's going to be their audience. It's going to be terrible. Like, there is going to be no engagement, and so you're going to see no talk of the CW online if they go down that route. But they have the chance, because they've still retained Superman, Lois, All-American, and some other shows for them to actually rebuild and rebuild better with more profitability, which is obviously what they entirely want and that's all they care about. I don't think any of this is to do with creativity or, you know, a vision for the network. I think their vision is just to make money, and that is it, full stop. So we'll have to wait and see, but this is good news to hear that he is talking specifically about season 5 of Superman Lois and it being a possibility. So why wouldn't it happen if it's profitable and successful come season 4 when it releases sometime next year? Again, we have no news as to when that's going to happen. The writers and the actors are still on strike, so there's no way of even producing the show even if they wanted to. So I'm going to keep you guys updated. Like I said earlier, I'm going to have a separate Superman Lois video out tomorrow to discuss the other part that Brad Schwartz had to say in this podcast with the Hollywood Reporter to do with the actors who are going to be returning next season for season 4. So for now, if you did enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment. It really helps out the video. Also subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos if you guys are new around here. Also get merch by clicking on the link in the description below if you want to support the channel and also be entered into a giveaway for those of you guys who have bought merch. The deadline is before August 28th. That is the day when The Flash Season 9 comes out on Blu-ray and DVD. We're going to be giving a copy away to you guys. So go ahead, click the link in the description below. It's the top link. Thanks for your support, and for now you can click on the top right corner of the screen to watch my latest video, but I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.
I see red.